Good evening. So what specifically would you do to improve the quality and affordability of social housing?
Okay, thank you. And just before Louise starts, the last two questions were collated or put together by a group of young people who unfortunately couldn't be here today. But they thought social housing and mental health was really important, so they won those questions. So they've been asked by Martin, the first question, so thank you, please.
This question has come up at, I think, every hustings that we guys have done so far. And my answer has been the same, which is planning. So whether you are building a social home or an executive home, we are developers, and that includes registered landlords, are coming up against an enormous amount of planning regulation. Now, on one hand, you can say that's good that there's more regulation around environmentals, consequences of building, but the issue why I think that the people are not building houses, whether that's social housing or executive housing, whatever you want to call it, is because of the long time it takes to get planning. So we would basically try and sort that out as a reform government, and I spend my whole time as a county councillor actually trying to get things passed and built. Usually it's the opposite way around, and there's no NIMBYism in my town. People want to see houses built. So I think that's one of the issues, is no matter what you're building, we've got to sort out the planning, make it quicker for the developer and the social housing developers to get on and build them. And then in terms of the quality, well, again, the new houses that are being built are getting better and better in terms of energy efficiency. I think we have an issue with retrofitting. I know that social landlords have a responsibility to retrofit houses now to meet certain EPC regulations. And one of the issues with that is we have a lot of properties in Wales that aren't on gas mains, they're on bottle gas, and if they are, they cannot meet the EPC regulations, which technically means that you shouldn't be renting out that property. So we've got to be very careful that as we go down the road of trying to make the property as environmentally friendly as possible, that we don't actually end up not giving people a roof over their heads. So there's huge amounts of work to do in terms of social housing, but honestly, I think the real problem is with the planning departments and county councils. Sort that out and we'll get more homes built.
Thank you. Gareth Williams, Conservative. It's okay, I'll just wait until your mic's solved.
Well, the numbers around social housing are quite frightening, really. Shelter Emery revealed that 94,000 households are waiting for a home in Wales. And it would take roughly 60,000 social homes to catch up with comparable European countries. So I would echo Louise's point that getting the local councils to speed up the process and make that more efficient is absolutely essential. I previously mentioned the abolition of the land transaction tax that we would use to help kickstart the housing market. And getting all of these houses built, it requires movement in the housing market as well. We'd bring more empty homes back into use, whilst also aiming to build an additional 40,000 new homes by 2030. We would build more lifetime homes that are accessible and adaptable for people to live in with all ages and abilities. We'd extend and expand the Help to Buy scheme for first-time buyers, whilst working with UK government to give young people £5,000 tax rebate in their first job to help save towards a first home. What other points do I need to tell you? We would explore the introduction of deposit passporting for social house tenants. This would allow tenants to use their current deposits for their next move rather than having to find the extra money up front before the original deposit gets returned.
30 seconds.
And we would also look to restore the right to buy in Wales scheme, but with a commitment to reinvesting the sale proceeds into the provision of more affordable housing.
Thank you. Carley, Dyson.
Thank you. So, the Green Party very strongly believes that everyone should have a right to somewhere to call home, and somewhere affordable to live shouldn't be seen as a luxury. A home shouldn't cost a fortune, and it shouldn't damage your health. So one of the things we're looking to do to support people in this is replacing council tax and taking the onus off the off renters to help them. Also freezing rents for a year to provide immediate relief and time to formulate a fairer rent control process, as well as building 60,000 new social houses within the next 10 years. And also we'd be looking to utilise the private sector, but also extend Welsh housing quality standard to the private sector so that people are living in better standard homes as well, and stronger protections against damp, mould and unsafe conditions. And social housing isn't just the right thing to do. It's economic sense. It's an investment. From a personal perspective, I started out in social housing. I grew up in the council estate in Pilus in Old Colwyn. And it was affordable, it was warm, it had outdoor green space. It was affordable enough that my parents could afford to save for a deposit for a house. And I can guarantee now that my family has ended up paying way more back in tax than we have taken from the system from a social housing perspective. So I do genuinely believe that from a young person perspective, setting out families and young people right from the beginning
30 seconds.
Will ensure that they are then better able to give back to society as they grow up.
Diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you. Carolyn Thomas, Welsh Labour, please.
Thank you. So the Welsh Government ended the right to buy in Wales, and Flintshire County Council, I'm pleased to say, was the first in a generation to start building council houses. So government, we've already invested £2 billion to deliver more than 20,000 homes in the social sector, working with councils and housing associations. They're low carbon and have air source heat pumps, solar panels and battery storage so that they're lower energy bills. They cost more to build, but worth that investment. Our manifesto commitments are to unlock a decade of house building to deliver 100,000 homes over the next decade, including a minimum of 40,000 low carbon homes for rent in the social sector. We want to do this by establishing a new national housing task force to reform the planning system and contracting a drive to faster adoption of modern methods of construction as part of it. We will ensure that all new builds include renewable energy as standard with solar panels as default. I've also ensured that we include in our manifesto elements for biodiversity, including swift boxes, hedgehog corridors and biodiversity elements. We need to support local jobs and supply chains and provide more government support for cooperative and community-led housing, and strike a fairer deal for private renters, including a guarantor scheme to enable more to secure a rental property. The extent to buy would be beyond new build homes and would help them to continue
30 seconds.
Help. We need to continue to help people with mortgage payments to prevent homelessness, especially with the cost of living.
Llyr Gruffydd.
Thank you very much. Yeah, well, we want to introduce a legal right to adequate housing to make sure that everyone in Wales has access to a safe, secure home. I think that's, a basic right, not just a privilege for those who can afford it. And of course, we want to make progress towards ending homelessness in Wales. Now, a big part of that is to deliver additional social homes. We have a target of 20,000 additional social homes by the end of the next Senedd, or at least by 2030. And that means working with local authorities, social landlords, etc., and also bringing empty properties back into use as well. Now, one key part of our approach is to create a national housing development body, not necessarily building the houses themselves, but working to unlock land and finance to invest in this, working with some of the social homes providers in order to sort of drive the delivery of these additional homes. We also need to make renting fairer. I think there's, general consensus in that space. So we want to end no-fault evictions. We want to strengthen security of tenure. We want to introduce fair rent measures, ban rental bidding, and limit rent payable in advance. But it isn't just quantity. Quality of homes is important as well, isn't it? And I touched earlier on the retrofitting plans that we have at a scale that hasn't happened in Wales before. We desperately need a national home upgrading programme so that people can live in warmer
30 seconds.
homes. That means that, they're not in some of the... Wales has some of the worst homes in Europe in terms of condition, and that's why we have children with higher levels of respiratory issues, because they live and grow up in damp and cold homes. And similarly with winter excess deaths for elderly people, it's because people are living in cold homes, and that cannot continue.